Dominic Up and welcome to another episode for the Funkit Pod. It's Monday and you know what that means. It's clobbering time. Wrestling Wednesday on a Monday. Why? Because, well, Full Gear just happened. So let's talk about what happened at Full Gear. Did it make sense? Was it well done? And are the stories that come out of Full Gear reasonable? How did the storytelling look like at AW Full Gear? Let me open my notes because I had quite a lot of those, and let's dive right into it. Right in the buy-in, we started with Hikaru Shida, Holy Shida, and Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. Not necessarily one of my favorite matches. It did make sense. I think that Shida and Thunder Rosa, of course, winning because they're like two on the upper echelon of women's wrestling at AEW. So that makes sense. Jamie Hayter still just came back more or less, and Nyla Rose just hasn't hit her stride ever since she's been toppled. So that makes sense to me. Not much to review here, I think. I mean, we saw Vicky Guerrero again getting like involved, but yeah, I would have thought that we could see like more, like overall, not only at Full Gear, but more of Vicky Guerrero, like just more involvement, I know, more prominent role. And I mean, the win came via jackknife, so not like a domination or anything like that. So that makes sense. They probably will meet down the road again. This kind of like quick, it wasn't quick, the match was too long, but this kind of like not dominating a win or a win via domination, but like via a jackknife probably has potential in there to then continue this feud, even though I'm not sure if I want to see it. I want to see Shida versus Thunder Rosa, for example. What was great then to start things really off was, of course, MJF versus Darby Allin. And Darby Allin with another dope intro, of course, as always. That was great. MJF with a great walkout because just really arrogant, which is awesome. And this showed something to me again, and it's always proven, but we just tend to forget it very frequently, that MJF, if he wants to, is a really good wrestler. So he can go with anyone, I guess, but like with Darby Allin does some cool offense or like a kip up or something. MJF can do that too. He just chooses not to do it because it doesn't fit his persona, right? Doesn't fit the persona of the arrogant, like I don't do more than I need to kind of guy. So it's really nice to see. Yeah. So from a storytelling point of view, I think this again also made sense because MJF won against Darby Allin. Again, of course, via nefarious means, like he tried to make Darby Allin hit him with a skateboard. Even the commentary was like, do it, he deserves it. But Darby Allin doesn't do it. And then the referee, I think it was Audrey Edwards in this case, she gives the skateboard to the outside, and then MJF with the ring, of course, and then knocks Darby Allin out. So that made sense. Before we saw like pretty technical stuff in between, also some high flying stuff with Darby Allin involved again, of course. But again, technicality wise, it's not easy as a non-native speaker. MJF showed that he can go, and he just chooses not to do so because that's not in his persona, and I appreciate it. That's really good storytelling because he doesn't need to be flippy, right? He's a bad guy, so he's the heel. He's not gonna have to show us what we want. No, he goes to the path of least resistance to win. That makes sense. So yeah, great match, back and forth. Darby Allin. I've never been like the biggest Darby Allin fan, but I mean he always shows out when he's in the ring. Of course, I forgot we had interference by Shawn Spears and Wardlow, but of course Sting came out and with the baseball bat just gave it to them, and with a chair and everything. So good on them. Yeah. What's next? So I mean now MJF can say he moved on. Of course, Darby Allin can say, well, you were cheating. So maybe we still continue this feud, but honestly, I'd say let's move on. Let's move MJF like a little bit more up the ladder again, especially seeing what happened later down the road at Full Gear. Then we had the Lucha Brothers, Cero Miedo, Animo, and I don't know the rest of the lyrics. was FTR, and it was a fantastic match. Fantastic match. Like, I mean, Lucha Bros are insane. Big fan ever since Lucha Underground, of course. FTR, great old school, awesome tag team. But, and I mean, and then Tully Blanchard got involved and so on. So all good, like great action back and forth. And then the Lucha Bros dominating with high flying stuff. Then FTR dominating because they're just like a-holes, but really good at tag team wrestling. Fantastic. But then eventually, close to the end, right? The Lucha Bros get the upper hand, and both FTR members are outside and they're hiding under the ring, and then they're putting on those green Lucha masks that they were wearing when they were surprising the Lucha Bros a few weeks ago. And then the wrong FTR member goes back into the ring because the real one, the actual one that was tagged in, apparently too hurt and would have been pinned right away or something. So then the other one goes in, but also gets pinned right away. Like one move or two moves, and then he also gets pinned right away. What was that? I'm sorry, it was a stupid ending. Like, I mean, I understand what they're doing. Like, they're switching under the ring or next to the ring. They're having the mask so that the referee doesn't see who's the actual one that's in. Okay, I get it. But then at least mount some offense. Like, cause no offense. Like, two moves by Lucha Bros on the guy with the mask again. I don't know if it was Dax Hardwood in this case, whatever. And then they win already. Like, what? That was not a great ending. That should have been done better, like with more wow, I think. Up until then, it was a great showing. Well, now that the Lucha Bros retained their titles, but the AAA titles apparently weren't on the line. So then this will continue until either the Lucha Bros has the AAA titles or until FTR has the AW titles, I assume. They're not going to be done like this. The FTR is not going to be like, they pinned the wrong guy, or that doesn't count. And yeah, so we can see where this is going. That's lame. I'm not a fan of this. The match itself was great up until the end, I think. But the end was just, What was cool though in between was, in every single match, always homage to Eddie Guerrero, who died 16 years ago on the day of a full year. And then everybody was like paying tribute with like the Three Amigos, with frog splashes and so on. And here even FTR tried to go for Three Amigos. I forgot which of the two guys. But before the third Amigo, I think it was Penta. Was it Ray? I think Penta was just countering, and then the Lucha Bros showed out and showed how it's done to hit the Three Amigos. So that was kind of nice to see. All right, so great match, storytelling-wise. Another one, storytelling-wise, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Miro the Redeemer versus Bryan Danielson. And of course, we knew who's going to win, right? No question. Bryan Danielson is not going to lose a match until he fights for the World Championship, obviously. But yeah. Why I'm hesitating is so the match itself again was awesome. Like Miro is fantastic, Bryan Danielson is fantastic. Sorry, pardon me. And then like in between the power moves, of course, by Miro, and then the speed or like the pace by Bryan Danielson, sorry, the American Dragon, all good, but it just didn't. For me, it didn't hit the wow switch, and I'm not sure actually why, but it just didn't hit this wow switch. It was great, and actually, I think the main issue I had again, that's the theme of today, was the ending. So it was a fantastic match, not super wow, but really good. Like, what if you like wrestling, watch it. But then at the very end, right? Then they're on the top rope. And then Bryan Danielson, holds on to Miro's neck and does like a whatever, not a moonsault, but whatever, flip from the top rope. And then they land. And on impact, he lets go of the neck. Because, I mean, you have impact and, of course, you can't hold on to the neck. But then I think the plan was to keep holding on to the neck. Because he jumps onto the neck, and as soon as he has the neck and falls over, the ref calls it. Like, he's out. That's not how fast you go out. I think this could have worked if he would have held on to the neck, because then, okay, he had the neck on the top rope, then falls down and still has the neck squeezed. I assume this might have been the plan, but this hitting the floor, hitting the canvas, letting go, jumping up, grabbing the neck again, and then within a second the referee calls it off. Also, there was a little bit, nah. But I mean, the nice thing is, of course, that the story always is that the neck, the neck is Miro's weakness. He's got a neck like this, but it's Miro's weakness, of course. So anyway, now Bryan Danielson, number one contender for the world title. So let's see how this plays out. Then we had a hardcore match, street fight, falls count anywhere match. Christian Cage and a Jurassic Express versus the Super Click. And it was cool. Again, a fantastic, like their matches all really good. Adam Cole, baby, with a try to like a Panama Sunrise right off the go. Then Christian Cage comes with a kill switch, and I have to check my notes because there was just so many moves. And Jungle Boy avoids getting thrown through a table. But then the trash cans came out and got one on his back, and then it was like a back and forth, just what you expect from a 6-man tag, right? It was just awesome. I mean, 6-man street fight. It was awesome. Like the good guys had a few moments, and the bad guys had their moments. It was fantastic. And then put like thumbtacks in Jungle Boy's mouth, ridiculous, and hit him with like I think the super kicks or like the knees, the BTE trigger. I'm not sure, forgot. I think super kicks, and then the BTE trigger came later, I think. Everyone went through a table. Fantastic. It's just insane. Luchasaurus with some insane moves again. Then eventually they were up the ramp, and Adam Cole has like a bag, like what's in there? More thumbtacks, and then he had like knee pads with thumbtacks for the Young Bucks and for himself, and then they hit that BTE trigger with the thumbtacks on the knees against Luchasaurus, all three at the same time. Before they also hit a super kick party, all three on Christian Cage. Really mean stuff, but also awesome stuff. And then, of course, the good guys fighting back, and then moonsaults from the stage and whatnot. It was fantastic. And then eventually, they're taking out everybody except, was it Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson? I forgot. I just watched it and I forgot it. I think it was Nick Jackson who was then like laid out on the stage, and they put a chair under his face, and then Christian Cage about to go to like the concerto, and then Jungle Boy says, "Let me do it." And then Christian Cage hands the chair to Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy looks at it, takes a few seconds, and then hits the concerto on Nick Jackson and scores the win. And this was awesome. A bit long if you're not really into it, I think, but for someone who's of course really into wrestling and all those things, I thought it was fantastic. I would have given it an A, I think, if I would grade. Storytelling wise, of course, again, it made sense that in the ring, very often it was then Jungle Boy and Adam Cole. Very, very often they faced off, but then not really because then the others involved, but then they face off again and the other. So that was really well done. So what comes next? That's hard to say, right? So who else are they gonna face, like those three respectively? Could see that of course Christian Cage goes into something single again. Jungle Boy probably too. Adam Cole obviously. So not quite sure where this goes right now, and we didn't see much angle at the end. But yeah, this is gonna be. I mean, all of them are awesome. Even I wouldn't mind seeing Luchasaurus doing something like single-wise at some point. But, I mean, right now they have just too many great single guys in there, of course. Okay, then we had Cody Rhodes, and the audience booed Cody Rhodes. Thank you, because we can't stand it anymore. Hulk Hogan, Cody Rhodes. Cody the Hulkster Rhodes. And Pac. Great team, but of course because they faced Malachi Black and Andre El Idolo. Of course, Cody and Pac would argue who starts, and then attack each other in without really wanting to tag and so on. But Malachi Black and Andrade had the same thing with like unwanted blind tags and stuff. So cancel each other out. It was nice, and I'm a huge fan of Andrade El Idolo in the ring. I am not really the biggest fan of his like persona like outside the ring. It's just like too cheesy for me. But I know that's on purpose, but it's just like still too cheesy for me. But in the ring, Andrade El Idolo is just awesome. I also hate Malachi Black's like whole persona with the antlers and whatnot. Like, but since I'm also training Muay Thai, I appreciate like all this Muay Thai stuff that he does in the ring. So that's cool for me to see. Yeah, so the match itself, lots of back and forth again, of course. Every time Cody hits something, they booed, which was really funny because he's the good guy apparently. In the end, however, we see, of course, Cody Rhodes and Pac defeating Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. After a black arrow, that was nice. I'm hesitating again because it was nice, and I can't believe I say that, and that's why I'm hesitating. I can't believe I say it, but compared to the rest of the show, it was a bit of a letdown, and it's not surprising because it's Cody in there, but like Pac and the black arrow and everything, and you say it's a bit of a letdown compared to the rest of the show. And so this was the theme, was like two teams that shouldn't function on paper function if they have to. Fantastic. They're not going to be friends at the end, of course. So yeah, I assume that's just one off, and then let's move on to give them like single stuff to do. I think Pac and Andrade El Idolo will keep feuding. Cody and Malachi Black, I still nothing resolved, to be honest, so that might also continue. All right, then we had the match that, of course, everyone was kind of waiting for, besides the main event, but like the intense match between CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, and the audience went nuts for Eddie Kingston. Eddie chants all through the match. Like Eddie Kingston had him right here in the back of his hand. That was fantastic. Even before the gong, the bell was ringing, Eddie Kingston, the spinning back fist on Punk, like knocking him down. Middle fingers everywhere all the time. Kingston, Punk, like all saying the effort to each other, like showing middle fingers to each other all the time. And of course, it went into like a brawl, of course. Like CM Punk, the more technical one in this case, of course, but it was just like a brawl back and forth and back and forth. And what was hilarious, of course, was that CM Punk hit a few John Cena moves in between, like the shoulder tackles, and then he had like his arm up to the "you can see me" to get ready for the five knuckle shuffle. But instead, he showed Eddie Kingston the middle finger, and Eddie Kingston from the bottom showed the middle finger to the sky, or to Punk, of course. Like great back and forth, superplexes from the turnbuckles. CM Punk diving out from the ring apron onto Eddie Kingston, and so on. And then again, more clapping and clapping and clapping, of course. Eventually, everyone's bleeding. CM Punk then firing off on Kingston, the crowd booing, Punk all confused, like, why are you booing me? Hitting, like, clinching up, like, really, like, Muay Thai, again, MMA style, like, he's training Muay Thai clinch, and then, like, knees, and how you learn it in Muay Thai training, just, like, to a different part of the body. And then eventually he had another GTS, and then go to sleep, and he wins. Afterwards, Punk tries to shake Kingston's hand, of course, but Eddie Kingston refused and walked out of the ring. Yeah, that was perfect. Storytelling on point. Kingston said he doesn't care if he wins or loses, he just want to beat up Punk, and he hates him, and he doesn't respect him and whatnot. Punk trying to be like the bigger man here, so to speak, and then tries to offer his hand and is confused why people don't like him, and Eddie Kingston like, no, I still don't respect you, I still don't want your handshake. Moves away, walks away. That was great. We will move on from this. This is done now, I believe. But that was just a great story. Like, that was well done. Yeah, it wasn't the most technical one, but from a like storytelling point of view, it made sense. CM Punk gonna move on to the next higher level opponent, I assume now. Eddie Kingston, I know, waiting for Mox to come back or just jumping into something else. Let's see about this. But this was great, well done, well laid out, great story to be told, and of course that John Cena slide in between was also nice. Okay, then 2 more matches. We had the Inner Circle versus Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and American top team, not America's top team, Chris Jericho, JDS, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovski, 2 former UFC heavyweight champions, and Dan Lambert, the owner of American top team ATT. And this was fun. This was just a fun. I mean, we were expecting it not to be like the most technical with like 3 ATT guys. Junior Dos Santos, though, looked really nice, looked really good. He caught Chris Jericho off a cross body, threw him up on his shoulder, hit a body slam. That was nice. He hit like a standing moonsault at one point. That was nice. So he looks like he has fun. He looks jacked right now. He's on the good stuff, which is fine. So that looked really nice. Andrei Arlovski didn't look as good as JDS in my opinion, but I mean he did what he could. I assume he hasn't been training as long as JDS yet. Hit some hard hitting fists and stuff, of course. That was all good. In between, lots of craziness, of course, breaking down. Like, I mean, it was a street fight, so whatever, no rules, right? So everybody moves on each other. Then in the crowd, and also Jericho jumps like from somewhere from the crowd down. We had Sammy Guevara from a freaking huge ladder, like a forward, I don't know, somersault or whatever onto I don't know, was it Scorpio Sky on a table in this case? I forgot who it was. Then we had Santana and Ortiz throwing each other into the crowd, onto their opponents, like taking them out there. And eventually at the end, Dan Lambert was standing like alone in the ring, posing like, yeah, I'm in the ring, yeah, come on. Because he thought everybody's out. But of course, it wasn't the case. Jericho sneaks in behind him and goes like, all right, bitch, let's go. And then Jericho was like laying it down on Lambert, and Lambert took some bumps. So respect for an old man who is not a professional wrestler taking some bumps. Nice. Then Jericho goes for the lion sword, but then JDS hits him with a candlestick on the ring while he's on the ropes. Great timing. Eventually, and then Adam Lambert, Dan Lambert tries to sink in the walls of Jericho, but Jericho grabs another candlestick, hits Dan Lambert, and then turns it around, hits him a few times, and of course, eventually gets the pinfall there. So yeah, victory for the Inner Circle. I think I liked it more than most others. Online it was like, yeah, not great, and the comments on the IG posts like a bit disrespectful. But I mean, Dan Lambert is not a wrestler, and they picked Dan Lambert to be in the team, right? Inner Circle picked Dan Lambert, so I mean, yeah, I think storytelling wise made sense. Of course, he had to aid the pinfall, comeuppance and so on. But I think it was quite nice. I liked it. It was a good job. By JTS looked awesome. Sammy Guevara goes crazy again. Fantastic. Sardana and Ortiz like the nut jobs, taking everybody out. Jake Hager powers his way through, and then we have Chris Jericho taking home the victory. So yeah, it was good. I mean, eventually they have to move on. So what's next is the question. They beat ATT now. So who's ATT gonna feud with next? They cannot just go away. And I assume we see more of JDS at least. So I wonder who's gonna feud with them now. Let's see about this. We then saw the debut of Jay Lethal, yay! And he challenged Sammy Guevara for a match on Wednesday for his TNT Championship, and of course Sammy Guevara accepted the challenge. And then, yes, main event, Kenny Omega the champion versus Hangman Adam Page, and of course it was all about the cowboy shit. The audience went nuts when the match was just like the intros that you saw Adam Page on a horseback riding to the arena, then walking in the arena, and it's like you just hear the chants, cowboy shit, and everyone was all excited. Fantastic. And the pace was insane. Great. Again, I'm not reviewing the whole match, but great match, like great back and forth, like Page starting off hot, but then of course his self-doubt's creeping in a little bit, and Omega is like using this to his advantage, and then Omega beats him down, then back and forth, then Page with a few near falls, and Omega with a few near falls. Omega's so close to hitting like his finisher a few times. He hits a few V-triggers, but still couldn't get him out, like misses the one-winged angel a few times. we see like Tiger Driver 98 from Kenny Omega in between, like ridiculous moves, like fantastic. Watch it, just awesome. Then Adam Page setting up for the buckshot lariat a few times, but Kenny Omega can avoid him a few times, and he's almost hitting it, but Omega throws the referee in front of him so that Adam Page takes out the referee, and Kenny Omega could avoid the buckshot lariat. And then it's another back and forth, and Audrey Edwards comes out, 2 count, some really close 2 counts, like 2.99999 seconds. Fantastic timing there. That was really, really great. Adam Page then ducks another counter, hits a dead eye, but it's also not enough. It was insane, like back and forth. And then while the referee was down before Audrey Edwards comes out, and Don Callis tries to get involved, of course, but Adam Page takes him out. And Kenny Omega tries to hit him with the title, but he can avoid it. It was just all fantastic stuff there. So another running V trigger from Kenny Omega, but also wasn't enough yet. And Page countered another one winged angel, awesome. And then while they're scrapping, the Young Bucks are coming on. You're like, oh no, come on, really? They're gonna do this now? But then the Young Bucks actually just look on while then Adam Page finds his final win, so to speak, hits a buckshot lariat to the back of Kenny Omega, and while I think Nick Jackson stands on the outside looking at Adam Page, and then he hits the buckshot lariat from the back, goes out on the other side of the ring to hit the buckshot lariat from the front. Then there's Matt Jackson looking at him, and it's like, is he gonna get involved? But then Matt Jackson just nods and doesn't do anything, and then the buckshot lariat that's gonna be heard around the world from the front takes out Kenny Omega. 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes crazy. Story comes full circle at Full Gear. Hangman Adam Page. It's not cowboy shit anymore. It's champion shit. Adam Page does it. Is the AEW World Champion, and I wasn't crying. You were crying. Fantastic job. And I know the Young Bucks and Omega made fun of it themselves, like in their Lock series, being the elite, like long-term storytelling. But it was long-term storytelling. It was long-term storytelling to perfection. It's been forever since AEW started 2 years ago. You knew Adam Page would be a champion eventually, but his path always got derailed. And you're like, oh no. So at first, Chris Jericho wins it. Okay, they needed the big name, of course, but then still not. And the tag titles with Kenny Omega, but then the fallout. Then FTR screw him with his head. Then he's out, he's gone. And then he comes back, and fantastic, awesome, best wrestling story in the past 2 years. Where do we go from here? We will see. I mean, now there's Bryan Danielson, of course, as the number 1 contender. That's going to be interesting. But since those are the 2 baby faces, also don't forget about MJF in there. Because, I mean, he's moving on from Darby Allin now, and he's the next biggest heel, I guess, in line. So maybe we see some MJF and Hangman Adam Page in the future rather soon. Anyways, fantastic event as always, like AEW, and I'm still getting paid by Tony Khan. Tony, where's my check? Fantastic event. It was so much fun to watch. If you haven't watched it, what are we doing here? Watch it. Great. Yeah, I was about to think about like which match I recommend the most. I don't know. I mean, the final, of course, the last match, main event. But to be honest, like CM Punk was great too. The Inner Circle was kind of fun, but then more fun if you like tag stuff or like multi-man stuff, then maybe more like Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. The Super Click was more intense and like more fun. But they are all great, so just watch it. It's fantastic. Like AW, great job. Most stories made sense. Yeah, I'm clapping for you. That was fun. Can't wait what happens on Wednesday. I'll see you guys all then. Until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this podcast. Rate it if possible. This helps that others find it. Until then, don't forget to always kick out a 2. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Sawadee Cup.